You can all be seated if you will. Thank you all for coming. If you would take your seats, we got a lot that's got to be said in not a long period of time, and we are so honored to have our guest of honor, Congressman Bachmann, and a lot of excitement out there. I haven't seen this kind of excitement since Sheriff Joe's last raid. He left in his helicopter early today with a 50 caliber machine gun, and we don't know where he is. Anyway, I'm Tom Morrissey. I have the honor of standing before you as the state chair of the Arizona Republican Party. And there are so many dignitaries and patriots in this audience that I'd be afraid I'd be remiss, actually, if I didn't mention everybody. But the one person that I cannot be remiss about is my lovely wife, Christine. I just wanted to say a few words and get out of the way here, because the person you all came to see is anxious to speak, and I know you're anxious to hear, of course. One of the things that I have found as being the head of the party, or chairman of the party, whatever you want to say, is that I really feel that we, as a party, have a mission. We, as the Arizona GOP, have an opportunity that's associated with that mission. That opportunity is, we have a motivator sitting in the White House. I'm not going to mention his name. I don't think I have to. But let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of disagreement in our party. Okay, we are a family. Okay, and as with most families, we agree on a heck of a lot more. I'm going to say hell. A heck of a lot more. I don't say hell, but a heck of a lot more than we disagree. Okay, we agree on much more. Now, the challenge here is that we talk to one another, and we talk to one another at our meetings, and we can talk on the phone, but we're talking to one another. We don't need to be blasting out this negativity on the blogs. And those of us in this room have to ask ourselves a question. Is it more important that we take down a fellow Republican, or is it more important that we take down Barack Obama? Yeah! I was hoping you feel that way.
Tell McCain that.
I'm the chairman of all the party, young man. I think he's heard that. But anyway, I want to say to you that the party, we have this incredible energy that's known as the Tea Party. And we have people that have been around our party for years, such as me. I am a constitutional conservative. I have always been a constitutional conservative. When they stick me in the ground, I'll go into the ground saying, I'm a constitutional conservative. Okay? And the Tea Party, all of this is coming together, the pachyderm. Those of us that have been around for years, we have this new surge, this new energy. Let's embrace it. Okay? Tea Party embrace the party, and party embrace the Tea Party. And let's do this together. We have to. We cannot lose this election in 2012. If we lose this election, we're hanging on by one vote. Our Constitution hangs on one vote in the Supreme Court. Okay? We cannot lose in 2012. We cannot. to give you something to think about, and this is the last thing I'll say before I introduce Congressman Franks. I've been doing martial arts for many, many years. And one of the things that I've learned in martial arts, and I teach, and I tell my students, we are all a drop of water, like a drop of water. And if you take the drop of water and think of yourselves as that, and you take that drop of water and you go stand at the edge of the Pacific Ocean with an eyedropper with one drop of water in it, and you say to the drop of water, look at you, you have no voice, you have no worth when you are before the majesty of this great ocean. You're just a drop of water. And that's all you'll be. That is until that drop of water is dropped into the ocean. And then what does it become? It becomes the ocean. And that's the way we have to see this. We have to see ourselves as that drop of water that's in this great ocean that's called Republican conservatism. And conservatism in general, patriotic conservatism, okay? I know that what we're going to call ourselves, we will call ourselves. And what we will identify with, we will identify with. But the other part of the saying about the ocean is what is so soft and pliant as water, and yet it can wear away even a mountain. And the mountain we have to wear away as this great ocean of conservatism is Barack Hussein Obama. So before our guest of honor is introduced, I have the honor of introducing one of my heroes. Where are you, Trent? Oh, you're right in front of me. My wife will say, she tells me, oh, I'll ask her, honey, where's the cream for the coffee? It's right in front of me, right? Well, there's the cream in our coffee right now. This is a great, great congressman. This is a great conservative. This is a great man. I want to tell you, I'm going to introduce you to
the difficulty being introduced like that, there's no way in the world that I can live up to it. So I just have to say thank you, Tom. You know what? I'm so glad you're our chairman. Never spoken what he said about Mr. Obama. If we fail to change the person in the White House, a lot of these wonderful victories which we've had will be of very little consequence. So I kind of started out this morning, it's not something that's easy, but I started out this morning kind of with a point of personal privilege. They asked me to do this and I wanted to kind of give you just a little sense, you know, that there's a certain heaviness in my heart this morning because of a decision that I made. And yet, I want you all to know, from the bottom of my soul, that I did what I truly thought was right for this country and for the conservative cause and for the Republican Party. You know, sometimes we forget that the old saying that a politician looks only to the next generation, but a statesman looks to the next election. I mean, the politician looks only to the next politician looks only to the next election, the statesman tries to look to the next generation. And as God knows my heart, I was trying and continue to try and continue to believe that we did make a decision that would be right for this country and the party and the next generation. And that is truly the case. And I hope that I get a chance to talk more about that. But I want you to know that I'm as committed as I've ever been. And there's some vital things happening in the House, truly vital things. Things that took a little bit of an ominous turn just in the last 5 days. They're very, very important, especially related to our national security. And I'm doing everything I can to, on a lot of different fronts, and there was no one factor. But believe me, I didn't do it out of selfishness or fear or anything. We did it because we thought it was right, even though looked like we had an excellent chance to win the primary because of all of you. And I don't know what would have happened, but now it's in God's hands, and we're going to go forward and do the best we can. With that, let me shift gears and thank Michelle and others for giving me that opportunity to say just something brief there. I heard a quick little story that I have to tell you. It was about a man that was a bird watcher in California. He was out in the California desert looking in every case, and his lifelong dream was to find a giant condor. And one hot afternoon, he was looking in his field glasses and saw a giant condor soaring over the canyon, many miles away. And he watched it very closely, and it flew up under the cliff and disappeared. And he knew that he had found the nest of giant condor. And he walked diligently half a day to get to where it was. And he was sweating and it was hot, and he finally got to this cliff where he'd flown up under. It was almost 300 feet high. And he was determined that he was going to find this. He was an expert mountain climber, so he began to climb the cliff. It took him another hour or so to climb this cliff. And when he got there, there was an overhang over the nest, and he couldn't get to it. So he had to climb up on top of the cliff, and then walked out over the ledge, and he tied a rope out of the ledge, and dangled himself down over the canyon so that he could try to get his camera and see into this giant condor nest. Well, it was too dark. He couldn't see inside. So as determined as he was, he began to swing back and forth. This is a true story. This truly happened. He began to swing back and forth, and there's 300 feet to craggy rocks below, and he's got one rope. And he's swinging back and forth, and as it got longer and longer, he got close enough, got his feet up on the edge of the little cave there, and was able then to untie himself. And he tied his rope off, and it was dark, and he was hoping that the condor didn't fly out in his face. And he continued walking. He got his flashlight out, got his camera out, trying to be very careful, and he heard this faint swish behind him. And he thought, what's that? And then all of a sudden, it hit him. He had not tied the rope off well enough. And it had fallen and slipped out of the canyon. And in that moment, it flashed through his soul. He thought, my God, they'll never find me. I will be here when some explorer, 200 or 300 years from now, finds this cliff, cave, and maybe my bones will still be powdered, maybe not. And he was so panicked in that moment. And then something hit him, a flash of genius, and he dropped everything he had, and turned and ran, dove out of the canyon. Because he knew when the rope swung out, that it would swing back. And that first time that it did was the only chance he would have to catch it. And he caught it in midair, caught it in midair, and hung onto it and climbed back to safety. And people didn't believe him until they found his camera and flashlight in the cave. And I will say to you, without being more dramatic, I tried to be as dramatic as I could. But I truly believe that's kind of what's happened to America. That we kind of let our ropes slip out of the canyon here recently. And then we've a little bit been asleep at the wheel. When you elect a guy like Bill Clinton, you've got to know that something's drastically wrong. And we've been kind of chugging along here, forgetting who we are, forgetting what the revolution really has meant. And then we went into not a sleep at the wheel, but into a political coma when we elected Barack Obama to the Congress. And the only thing I would say to him is, God bless him, he has been the greatest Republican motivator in the history. And the Tea Party and the people of this country saw that this man was leading.